There's someone in your life right now that you can't stand. Maybe it's a coworker, maybe it's a neighbor, maybe it's someone you have to smile at every single day while secretly wanting to throw them into the sun. You think that's a modern problem? It isn't. Ancient humans hated each other too, and the way they handled it was far more brutal and far more clever than anything we do today, because they didn't have the one thing you have, the ability to leave. Imagine you're living 30,000 years ago. Your entire world is a group of maybe 25 to 50 people. That's it. No city to escape to, no new job to find, no blocking someone on Instagram. These are the only humans you will ever know. You were born with them. You hunt with them. You sleep 10 feet away from them every single night for your entire life. And one of them you absolutely cannot stand. Maybe he takes more food than he deserves. Maybe she talks constantly and never listens to anyone. Maybe he's lazy, cowardly, and dishonest. And somehow everyone else seems to love him anyway. You have no escape. This person is not a temporary problem. This person is your entire social universe, forever. Now you might think, okay, just ignore them. But here's why that was almost impossible. In a group of 50 people, every single relationship mattered. If 2 people stopped cooperating during a hunt, animals escaped. If 2 people stopped sharing food, someone starved. If tension spread through the group, the entire social structure could collapse. Anthropologists who study modern hunter-gatherer societies, the Hadza in Tanzania, the Kung in southern Africa, the Ach in Paraguay, all report the same thing. Internal conflict was considered one of the greatest threats to group survival, more dangerous than predators, more dangerous than starvation, because a group that falls apart from the inside doesn't get to survive long enough to face anything from the outside. So ancient humans didn't just hate people casually. Hate had consequences, and managing it was a survival skill. So what was the first thing ancient humans did when someone became a problem? They talked about them, not to their face, behind their back. And before you feel superior about that, understand this. Gossip is not a character flaw. Gossip is one of the most sophisticated social technologies ever developed by the human brain. Robin Dunbar, the evolutionary psychologist famous for Dunbar's number, spent decades studying why humans talk. His conclusion was startling. Around 65% of all human conversation across every culture ever studied is social information about other people. Who did what? Who can be trusted? Who took more than their share? In ancient groups, this information was survival data. If someone was cheating the system, the entire group needed to know. Gossip was the original early warning system. It spread reputational information faster than any formal process could. And the target of that gossip, they started losing trust, slowly, invisibly, without ever being directly confronted. Which brings us to the second tool. Anthropologists call it ostracism by degrees, and it was devastatingly effective. Here's how it worked. Nobody called a meeting. Nobody made an announcement. The group just quietly adjusted. The best cuts of meat went to other people first. Stories told around the fire somehow never included the problem person. When decisions were made, their opinion was heard and then ignored. Invitations to small hunting parties stopped coming. They were still in the group, still fed, still protected. But something had shifted, and they could feel it. Now, here's what makes this psychologically brutal. Humans are wired for belonging more deeply than almost any other drive we have. Neuroscience research shows that social rejection activates the same brain regions as physical pain, literally the same neural pathways. Being excluded didn't just feel bad to ancient humans. To a brain built for group survival, it felt like dying, because functionally, it was. A human fully excluded from their group in the Ice Age had maybe days to live. The body knew this, the anxiety, the shame, the desperate need to fix it. All of that was the brain screaming, "Fix this or you will die." So most people corrected their behavior long before things escalated further, but not everyone did. When quiet pressure didn't work, ancient humans moved to something more direct, public shaming, but not the chaotic social media pile-on version we know today. This was structured, ritualized, almost theatrical. In many hunter-gatherer societies studied by anthropologists, public confrontation followed a specific pattern. First, the most respected members of the group would speak, calmly, specifically with examples. "You took the larger portion 3 times this week. You stayed at camp during the last hunt. You spoke over the elder during the last decision." The accused couldn't easily deflect because everyone had witnessed these things. There was no PR team, no lawyer, no ability to change the subject. Just 40 people who all remembered exactly what you did, staring at you around a fire. The goal wasn't humiliation. The goal was correction. Researchers who study these societies describe it as the group essentially saying, "We see you, we remember, and we are giving you one more chance." Most people confronted this way changed. The social pressure was simply too powerful to resist. But for the rare individual who didn't change, who doubled down, who became more aggressive, who refused to cooperate no matter what, the group moved to its final option. Researchers studying hunter-gatherer societies across multiple continents found a pattern so consistent it couldn't be coincidence. When a group member became truly dangerous, not just annoying but genuinely threatening to group survival, the group eliminated them. Not impulsively, not in anger, planned, deliberate, collective. Anthropologist Christopher Boehm spent decades documenting this across dozens of hunter-gatherer societies. His findings were deeply unsettling. The most common targets weren't the weakest members. They were the ones who tried to dominate, the bully who wouldn't stop, the cheater who kept cheating, the violent individual who threatened everyone's safety. And crucially, the decision was never made by one person. It required group consensus. One person acting alone was murder. The whole group acting together was something else entirely. It was social maintenance. And here's what Boehm found most remarkable. These societies had no chiefs, no formal leaders, no legal system, and yet they consistently, across thousands of years and dozens of cultures, arrived at the same mechanisms for managing dangerous individuals. The system wasn't invented by anyone, it emerged, because groups that developed it survived. Groups that didn't. Now look at your own life with fresh eyes. That co-worker everyone avoids at lunch, the family member nobody calls back, the person in the friend group who slowly stops getting invited and doesn't fully understand why, the executive who gets managed out of a company through invisible pressure before anyone ever formally fires them. We still do all of this. Every single mechanism, the gossip, the quiet exclusion, the public confrontation, the collective decision to remove someone. We never stopped. We just replaced campfires with conference rooms and spears with HR departments. The technology changed. The social software running underneath it, that hasn't been updated in 30,000 years. But here's the part that should genuinely make you pause. These systems weren't designed to be cruel. They were designed to preserve something fragile and precious. The group. Ancient humans couldn't afford the luxury of tolerating someone who consistently destroyed cooperation, broke trust, and endangered everyone around them. Every person in that group was irreplaceable. Every person's contribution mattered to survival, so protecting the group sometimes meant making brutal decisions about individuals. And the people who made those decisions didn't see themselves as cruel. They saw themselves as responsible, as protectors of something larger than any one person, which raises a question worth sitting with. The next time you watch someone get quietly frozen out of a social group, or the next time you realize you're the one doing the freezing, ask yourself, is this cruelty? Or is it 30,000 years of human engineering still running, still protecting, still deciding who belongs and who doesn't?